in the Palais des Nations, and on the second preparatory committee of the 11th review conference cycle. And I just wanted to stress the importance of the NPT, which is still remaining the cornerstone of the non-proliferation and disarmament regimes, and it's really the treaty which is working, which is quite demanded, and which is really very capable to keep the world safe, and particularly when participating states would unite and consolidate their efforts to find out the common ground for its success. And we all know the recent developments worldwide in different continents, in different places of the world, and which is not very conducive to the deliberations within this process and in many other different international fora. But of course, we have to find out the proper way how we could bridge the gaps, and how we could bring together delegations having different approaches, different visions, and to try to find out the common ground, to find the compromise in order to ensure the process going on. And I mentioned process because this is really the process, not the final stage of the review of the NPT or whatsoever, but this is the ongoing process, and we have to concentrate both on deliberations, on constructive deliberations, on trying to find out the ways out, and also to produce some kind of deliverables upon the completion of our discussions during these 2 weeks. And I'm very much hopeful that all participating states will be, as I said, open, transparent, and flexible to find out the way forward, and despite of their discrepancies. And during my run-up, my preparation to the second PrepCom, I conducted a number of meetings with consultations in different places, like in New York, Geneva, Vienna, Moscow, and Tehran. I met with various colleagues, and everywhere I received only support. I heard that this NPT, both as the treaty and as the process, remain very important instrument and tool to get the world free of nuclear weapons. The main thing is that their vision how to attain those goals are different, and again, we have to be very careful and very persistent at the same time to try to find out the proper solution to the challenges we face. And as the chair designate for this process, and my team also, we will remain, as I promised to all delegations, we will remain open, transparent, flexible, and to try to take on board every concern, every proposal, every idea, particular creative idea, so we could attain the success. But at the same time, we have to be very practical and sober, that today's deliberations, today's political and geopolitical circumstances are not really very conducive to produce really tangible result. But we'll be working hard, me and our team, on attaining practical results, moving the process forward, and finding out the way when participating states will be eager and will be ready to implement the treaty in its full scale. So this is my short introductory remarks, Ronda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rahmatulin. And I should just remind you, colleagues, that we shared with you some weeks ago a media advisory with lots of details, pertinent background, and sort of a practical link to the webpage where you can find a lot more information, including side events, exhibitions, and additional resources. So please do consult that media advisory we shared with you previously. Do we have questions? Yes, Meva is our colleague from Kyodo News Agency of Japan. Meva.
Thank you very much for taking my question. Yes, it's working. Thank you. I just have a couple of questions about the session itself. What do you expect from this session in comparison to the previous one? Are you waiting for a precise improvement? And if yes, which one? And I also have a question regarding your relations with the delegation of North Korea. Are you engaging with the delegation of North Korea? And are they also engaging with you, or do they remain more distant? Thank you very much.
So if, just to make myself correct, you meant if there is any tangible or practical results I'm aimed at, right? Honestly speaking, it's really very hard to say it at this stage. As I said, we try to be very optimistic, but we have to keep being practical and to see how, different delegations are different in their approaches. But honestly speaking, what gives me kind of a hint of optimism that we are coming from such a region which is quite balanced. We try to be very balanced in our relations with the various groups of states, with different states, regardless of their geographic, geopolitical location. And it gives me kind of feeling that we will be a bit more successful in trying or in attaining some results from all countries who are, for example, in quite a strong controversy among each other. And as far as the DPRK is concerned, since it's no longer the NPT, part of the NPT, it's really a bit difficult, for example, to produce any kind of a push or an impetus on this country to stick to the provisions of the treaty. But we've heard even today the general debates that many countries raise this issue and raise their concern about their nuclear program.
Thank you very much. We have a question now for you from Antonio Broto of the Spanish news agency. Antonio.
Thank you very much. So I would like to ask if the countries that attend this meeting are only the nuclear powers, or are all the UN members who are part of the treaty? And also, because you mentioned that there is different points of view on how to get results on non-proliferation, can you elaborate more on which countries defend which approaches to this? Thank you.
Thank you. As far as the membership is concerned, its participation is concerned, if I'm not mistaken, there are 189 participating states. So it means that we have only 5 nuclear weapon states, and the rest are the non-nuclear weapon states. And this is the dialogue. And they are very active. And thus far, we have more than 110 delegations, countries inscribed into the list of speakers. As far as the different discrepancies or contradictions are concerned, of course, countries cannot be equal in their approaches to how the treaty should be implemented and about which nuclear states, what kind of commitments the nuclear states have to implement, and what kind of benefits or what kind of stance the non-nuclear states may have, and that make the deliberations quite different. The main expectations are about, for example, keeping the balance among 3 pillars. It's about disarmament, it's about non-proliferation, and about peaceful uses of nuclear energy. Other deliberations are quite tough about transparency and accountability. How, for example, the nuclear powers should exercise their commitments in being transparent and accountable, and trying to decrease the nuclear arsenal, nuclear stockpile they possess. It's also about the future of the treaty, how it should be implemented in all 3 pillars, and for example, also about negative consequences of nuclear weapon use or nuclear test use. So there is a lot of different topics which is being under consideration, and which we have to cover during these 2 weeks, and to try to find out the further recommendations how to better implement the treaty.
Thank you again. Do we have further questions? Yes, Meva, once again.
Thank you very much. I just have one question regarding the nuclear disaster that took place in Japan decades ago. Do you think that the Japanese experience of nuclear weapons continue to inspire the necessity to stop these nuclear weapons actively? I mean, I'm sorry. I wanted to ask you if you think that decades after the Japanese disaster, you think that this Japanese experience continue to inspire the delegates in the room to stop the proliferation of nuclear weapons? Thank you.
Yes, indeed. When it comes to discussions, for example, and many delegations refer to the disaster, to the atomic bombing, both in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and its influence and its role in consolidating the efforts of all states, be it nuclear powers or non-nuclear powers, to bring to an end the arm race, particularly the nuclear arm race, and any of weapons of mass destruction. And also I wanted to note that Japanese delegation is very active in this process, and they participate at the level of government, at the level of the NGOs, and the level of the academia. And we very much rely also on the constructive and convincing role of Japanese delegation. Thank you.
Thank you. Another question from Antonio of Spanish News Agency. Antonio.
Thank you, Rolando. I would like to ask how important is this dialogue for your country, for Kazakhstan, because I understand that it was a country important for Soviet nuclear tests. Also, I think it stored nuclear weapons. I don't know if you had to give them up when the country got the independence. So is it particularly important for Kazakhstan? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a really good question, and to which I love gives the answer. Because Kazakhstan used to be part of the Soviet Union, and it possessed the fourth largest nuclear arsenal, nuclear stockpile on its territory. And once we got our independence, the question appeared whether we have to keep this nuclear arsenal, but it was the only viable and right decision that we have to get rid of that nuclear stockpile in order to move forward peacefully among the other nations which emerged after the Soviet Union collapsed. And since then, we are very active proponents of nuclear disarmament, non-proliferation. We got rid of this nuclear stockpile, and that time it was really good example of how nuclear powers collaborated and cooperated together, because it was very close cooperation of United States and Russian Federation, who helped us in close coordination, who helped us to remove all the nuclear warheads, all the equipment from the territory of Kazakhstan. And since then, we remain very active, try to remain very active on different disarmament directions. Because, for example, the fact that I was designated as the chair of this second preparatory committee, it was also I think the kind of recognition of our strive to a nuclear weapon-free world. And we're also trying to be involved in many other different anti-nuclear fora, be it intergovernmental, like Treaty on Prohibition of the Nuclear Weapon, or be it non-governmental ideas. So we are trying to be everywhere in nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have further questions? Yes, Musa in the back. Musa is our caller from Al Mayadeen TV.
Thank you very much. Can you tell us, please, if there is some details about the nuclear weapons augmentation since the war in Ukraine through today? There is some change about the number of head of nuclear weapon? Thank you. In the world. Yeah, I ask if there is some change concerning the number of nuclear weapon head in the world, in the United States, in Russia, since the beginning of the war in Ukraine. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't think we have very accurate and exact number of how this dynamics is going up or down, but according to the declarations made by those countries, they are trying to decrease the number. Even, for example, there is no longer the START treaty between Russia and United States on reducing the number of the warheads in their possession. But internally, they declared officially and publicly that they are working on the decrease of the warheads. But again, we cannot judge about the accuracy and the number provided by those countries. But the war in Ukraine, it entailed and it cost kind of, maybe a bit belligerent rhetorics about the possible nuclear military build-up. But I'm not sure that it entails or causes the practical nuclear military build-up.
Thank you very much for those comments. Do we have further questions? No, I don't see online. Okay, one additional question from Antonio. Thank you. Over to you.
Yes, I would like to ask if do you think the sense of urgency for non-proliferation is higher now than before the Ukrainian war? Now that the threats of using nuclear weapons have been expressed by people like President Putin in the last months or years. Thank you.
There was not any kind of very straightforward threat of using nuclear weapon. There were kind of some hints or some, if we read between lines, we can see from either side. I wouldn't single out any particular country or a group of states, but the mutual, claims and mutual accusation are quite strong. And indeed, the conflict in Ukraine caused the rise of this, as I said, belligerent rhetorics about the possible use. But again, they were never expressed like we are going to use this weapon or we are going to drop a bomb somewhere. But it was like we have to think about keeping our nuclear forces in a high preparedness regime and so on and so on, as a reaction to someone else's, statement made. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you very much. And of course, I need to remind you that, of course, the Secretary General has been reminding states of reducing, minimizing, eliminating altogether this belligerent rhetoric as just referred to. I don't see any further questions. unless last minute hands go up. No, I don't see that's the case. So I'd like to thank you very much for joining us here for this press conference. And colleagues, again, do consult the media advisory. We have lots of important information, practical links to statements, among other things. So do consult that. And so once again, Mr. Rahmatullah, thank you very much and good luck for the next 2 weeks.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Rolando.
colleagues.
Thank you all asked questions and attended the meeting. Thank you again. Best.
Recording stopped.